In an age of skyrocketing divorce rates, is it really possible to make love last? Welcome to the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman, the well-known relationship experts and best-selling authors of The Marriage Map book. Each week, they share the latest information to help you enjoy your romantic partnerships so you can fall in love forever. Here are your hosts, Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Grossman.
I'm Dr. Barbara Grossman.
We're the authors of our new book, Ageless Love, Prescriptions for Mind, Body, and Spirit, and the Sexy Science of
Falling in Love Forever.
Falling in Love Forever. So it's an interesting book because we talk about both the science of falling in love forever and the emotional benefits of falling in love forever. And there's a lot to do with science. The science of falling in love forever has a lot of components to it. One of them is the physical, the hormonal. As we get older, we change hormones, we lose hormones. And that's a big part of not being able to maintain romantic love and passion. You've got to be able to have the right balance of hormones as you get older. And that's what I do as an anti-aging physician. Then you have the other part, which Dr. Barbara works at every day with her patients as a marriage counselor, how to maintain the emotions necessary to maintain that quality of falling in love forever. You want to add some thoughts about how you do that in terms of looking at the big picture of the changes in stages of life and how that affects falling in love or falling out of love?
Well, if you assume that we're talking about a couple that's fallen in love when they were young, they're starting life together at a stage where they're creating their lives. They have to be practical. They have to figure out the careers and family life. There's a lot of a functional focus in life at the time. A couple gets together and creates the life together. And there's just a lot to do. And eventually, over time, other dimensions of life show up as important. So the same couple needs to then begin to talk about more feelings and new interests that develop and just how life is looking when parents get older and fade and pass away, and what kind of personal development is inspiring each individual. It's important to grow over a lifetime, not stay in the same place. And as new needs and desires arise, it's important for the couple to learn how to talk to each other in a way that is open and intimate and not complaining, but sharing these new developments that are occurring inside and the new directions that may be interesting, so you can invite your partner to join you, or at least understand where you're going.
So we can say that if a romantic partnership works things out in the beginning of their relationship and they find a way to be in love and it's wonderful and they are married for some 5 to 10 years feeling in love, then over time things can change and things will change. It doesn't stay the same. So whatever you've worked out when you're married the first 5 years or so is not going to be the same after 10 or 15 years of marriage. It's going to change. So you have kids. It's very different when the kids are little and when the kids start becoming teenagers. It's very different when you're 25 years old than when you're 35 or 40 in terms of how you feel about everything. And unless you have the skills to talk with each other, to share with each other how you're feeling differently about life and your situation and your marriage and your family and your work, unless you can talk with your partner about it, it's a big problem. One of the big problems can become that you can't talk to your spouse about your upset because they don't want to hear about it for whatever reason. You're going to find someone else to talk to about it. And then you get emotionally attached to them. Oh, look, so-and-so really cares about how I feel. And then you get emotionally attached to them and you begin to separate out from your spouse and you get more attached to these other people because they're really listening to you, but your spouse is too busy or too whatever. And that's a big problem.
So it's no small project to learn how to talk to your partner because your partner and you are very intertwined with each other and you have a family together. And whether you're conscious of it or not, your old wounds from childhood are being reactivated. And you may even be interacting in a way that represences the old injuries of your childhood. And so your partner may not seem like they're on your side for a period of time. And so those wounds from childhood need to be resolved in favor of healing. And you need to grow your partnership by working together and learning how to share the old hurts instead of reacting to your partner's similarities to a parent or or being bogged down by old feelings and not being your best self. You need to learn how to talk about those feelings in such a way that your partner feels engaged and on your side and happy to work together to heal yourself and to heal themselves so that you're accomplishing big things together. That just enhances your relationship and puts you on the other side of your childhood and your growing up years. And then you can begin to develop beyond that together. But it's so important to learn how to talk about those deep feelings without sounding like you're blaming, accusing, or just reacting irrationally.
And there's a quality of sharing deeply with your partner in which you share deeply, but you don't necessarily agree with each other. So one of the peculiar things that I find with Barbara and I is that I love her more now than at any time in the past 50 years. But we don't agree on a lot of things. We have different ways of thinking about things, different ways of interacting with things, different ideas of how we should create this or organize that or whatever. We have very different ideas and we don't agree about it. And we have to decide how to deal with that. But what happens is that I am in love with someone who is a real human being, different than me, and yet accepts and appreciates me as being different than she is. And you can really love someone who's different than you and not agree on everything. And that's real important. When you see your partner being dynamic and being effective and being fantastically creative in their own arena of expertise, and yet they don't agree with everything you say, it creates this mystery. How can this person be so different than me? And yet look at them, they're really have a lot of talents and skills and ability and wisdom and thoughtfulness, but they're so different than me. Then you can really be in love with someone who's different than you. And that brings this great romantic passion, just like when you first met each other, but you really didn't know each other, but you knew they were different than you and you loved them. And this passionate kind of love is very different than love of a brother or sister, or mother or child. It's different, but you can still love each other intensely. And it takes that intense sharing, but you also have to accept that they're very different than you. And it's okay.
I think our differences when I think about our differences, it makes you exciting, makes you very interesting. And you're like I know you really well. I feel like you're my best friend, but you're also just very exciting because you have qualities I don't have, qualities I'll probably never have. And it's a adventure to be with you because I get to experience vicariously those qualities. But the key is that when we share our differences, it's reflective, it's inward, it's calm, it's thoughtful, it's not aggravated and angry and blaming, and I'm not expecting Michael to agree with me or ditto me, and pretty well I'm not going to do that as well. But it isn't contrary, it isn't icky. It's real conversation.
So we wanted to present this big picture of what it takes to be falling in love forever, not just the first 5 years of marriage, but the whole 50 plus years of marriage, to feel more passion after 50 years than you did after 5 years, than you did after 2 years. You can do that. And we encourage you to read our books. We've written a book called The Marriage Map, The Road to Transforming Your Marriage from Ordeal to Adventure. We tell lots of fun stories in there and give you the big picture. And our new book coming out, Ageless Love, talks about how to stay in love forever, the value of it, and how to make it real in your own lives. So we look forward to talking to you again. And we hope you enjoyed our little discussion tonight.
Yes, wishing you love.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thank you for watching the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman. Join us next week for another informative discussion to help you keep your love alive. Be sure to visit us at themarriagemap.com or find out about our relationship classes at fallinginloveforever.com.